What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? Now that Smite 2 is starting to establish itself a little bit, we aren't going through just complete game changes every 2 weeks. There's a little bit of stability. I'm gonna start doing top fives again. That's where I go over the top 5 gods in each role. We'll do, each role is one video, so we can talk about it, go over the builds. I make sure the builds are uploaded and updated on Smite Source, and you guys are kind of good to go, and you know what to play. You don't have to just go get a tier list. You can look at the specifics based around the role, and really the goal of this is just to help you guys so you know which point. That's the goal. I mean, let me know in the comments if for some reason that's not what you're getting out of this. So top 5 gods, jungle roles, what we're doing first. As you can tell by the title of the video, we're gonna go from 5 to 1. I do have Ellie, what are you doing? Look at this cat, she's back there. All right, so we're gonna go from 5 to 1. I have one honorable mention that I can think of right now, and then yeah, we'll just talk about it as we go. So number 5 on my list, all of these are assassins except for one honorable mention, which is a good thing. I like it. It's Nemesis. Nemesis has had a massive resurgence with not the patch that hit yesterday, but 2 weeks ago. They buffed her 2 and either her 1 or her 3. They added a little bit of damage to her 2, which is nice. On top of that, the assassin items got buffed in a way that directly affects her, in my opinion, and it just makes her very, very consistent. Tends to happen when a kit gets buffed and the items get buffed, that they can go from being a very bad or mediocre god to a very good god. So Nemesis is up there for my top 5 right now. In terms of builds, I am looking at ability jungle. You can go auto attack Nemesis. All right, it's not the end of the world. I will add that build up. It's not a bad build. It's probably a harder carry for the lower level players or for brand new players, because you're just running around holding left click and you aren't really thinking about how to play the game. However, if you are playing in high level games or want to be good or want to be consistent and aren't just playing for like that true, like I'm gonna hard carry auto attack build, this is the build to go to. Hydra's opener, you're going Bumba's hammer, you're going Jotuns. The Jotuns is your pivot item, your extra item, luxury item, however you want to look at it. Pendulum Blade, Crusher, Titan's Bane, Heartseeker. With Nemesis, your ultimate makes it so you get, here it is, they're down here. So you get pen, you steal pen essentially from people. So you don't really need pen early. You can go it early. You can literally shift all 3 of these items over one, drop the Jotuns from the build, put it last, put it later in the build. I think Jotuns is just a luxury pivot item. It's awesome for when you're getting kills. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th slots are solid. You also can drop the item for Magi's Cloak. If I do that, I tend to go the Magi's Cloak later. So I would do that pivot where all 4 of these items would shift to the left. We would remove Jotuns, and then we would put Magi's Cloak at the end of the build. I go Blink pretty much every game, and when you're going Blink and being CC'd a lot, that's when you're going to be looking at grabbing that Magi's. You can go beads, but it's very, very hard to do your job with beads. Just straight up, that's how it plays out every time. It is what it is. Number 4 on our list is another assassin. I just love that it's assassins right now finally, and not tank warriors and tank everything else. It's Jungle Thorp. You can run aspect, however, if you're really trying to min-max damage, you aren't. I'll put aspect in the title if it's an aspect build. This is the same build as Nemesis. Who would have thought? It's how assassins work. When they do the same job, they tend to have the same builds or almost the same builds. That doesn't mean an item or 2 can't change. A lot of people like Erendite on Nemesis. I don't think it's worth it. I think Pendulum is far better. Pendulum is probably one of the best items in the game alone by itself. So we got a similar build. Hydras, Jotuns, Pendulum. I like these 2 together, especially because you can go into a fight on Thor, and if somebody doesn't have beads, you can 100 to 0 them. If you're level 10, 11, 12 plus, you can stun them with your ult, auto them, throw your 1 out, stun them, auto them, auto them again, 3 them, they're dead, right? They're dead earlier than that probably. And then if you get the kill, you get the Jotuns cooldown, and then you pop the Pendulum Blade, and all your abilities are back up. And you can use them to run away, use them to survive, or use them to just go to your next target and kill the next person. Same exact rule set. Magi's can be built later in the build. You do have beads in this build. You do not need Blink on Thor. If you want to go Sunder, in this active slot and then do the Magi's later, that's an option as well. Thor is just a really good middle ground of a dive god. I say middle ground because you don't need blink to engage. You have a semi-global ult, you've got your your stun, you've got range damage. He's got a solid, really good base kit where it allows you to get beads, which usually is not common on assassins. And if you are someone who tends to overcommit or blink ends up being a detriment to you, then Thor might be a god you want to play. It might be your go-to to make sure you're having more consistent games. That's number 4 on our list. Number 3 on our list is the Weelix. She got nerfed in this last patch. I don't think it matters. It was an all-around nerf, but I think it's because she's overperforming in lower to mid-level games. If I'm not mistaken, they nerfed cooldown on her 3 and her 2. They nerfed her passive scaling, and I think they nerfed her damage on her ultimate. So they hit 4 parts of her, 5 parts of her kit. A Weelix is the exact same boat as the other assassins. You do want blink on a Weelix, unlike Thor, which opens you up to the late game Magi's. Once again, you can shift Jotuns to any part of this build. If they're really tanky, shift it after Titans, shift it to the end of the build, however you want to play it. This build is insanely consistent. Anytime you have Pendulum on Assassin, it's very consistent. In Smite 1, we never had the luxury, well, not never, but the luxury of engaging, using our kit, and then literally re-popping and just getting everything back up again. It wasn't realistic. That's why I like it on Nemesis too. We talked about Nem. You can use your 1 to get in on Nemesis, or you could blink in and 2 them and auto them, and then 3 them and auto them, and then 1 them, auto, 1 auto. And then you're like, oh, I'm dead. I just used all my kit. I used my movement. Pop the Pendulum. Everything's back up. You pop the Pendulum, your shield's back up, your 2's back up. You can literally, with full build in these builds, you can use an ability, pop it, and use it again. That is insane. For someone like a Weelix, you could engage 2 them, pop the Pendulum Blade, and then 2 again, and get double immunity frames and everything else. The build goes crazy. I promise you this build will be very, very, very consistent for you. On top of it, you're going into Titan's Bane, which is pen for yourself. And if your teammates have Executioner or Totem of Death on the target you're hitting, then you have even more penetration on that target, and you will shred through them. It gives you the option, not a top tier choice, but an option is to kill a tank. If a tank is being annoying to your backline, that could be your target. You can knock up a tank, your teammates can knock up a tank, you could ult them in, and your team could just blow them up, and you become this very flexible assassin, which is super rare. Like, Thor doesn't really want to go on a tank. You could stun and kind of poke, but you're never really full committing on a tank, on a well-built tank. But a Weelix could full commit. Even Nemesis could full commit, which is very valuable in this meta where you never know how your teammates are going to play or the gods your teammates are going to pick. It makes it so you can play backline dive, you can just chill with your team and play slower, you can play in between. Your targeting is, it's open. It's available. You can go on whoever, whenever, however you want. That's a number 3 on the list. Number 2, another god that was just nerfed. It's Aladdin. Aladdin's 1 got slightly nerfed. I think they had something else, but it wasn't massive. It's mainly the 1 is the problem now. They've nerfed Aladdin's kit, I think, 6 times now. The real issue was the damage was super high, so every nerf affects the damage either by hitting cooldown or base numbers, and they just hit the 1 cooldown. I think they might have touched the damage, but it really isn't a end of the world nerf. It still feels pretty solid. So I'm away from the just full cooldown build that you've seen. There's a lifesteal build I've run that's fun, but it's not top tier. It's more fun. This is the build I've been going whenever I play Aladdin. You're going Spear of Deso. It's one of the best early game items, one of the best mage items in the game. I go Chronos Pendant because you really want to play, if you played Smite 1, a playstyle similar to Mercury, where in the late game fights, you're not just full committing like an assassin does. It's not blink, go in, dive, dive, dive. It's kind of 1 spamming. You basically just 1 over and over again. You have a lot of cooldown with this build. You have cooldown on your starter, Spear, Chronos, and then Totem of Death. And then you pick up extra damage on your autos after your abilities from Poly, which is good when you do dive. Rod, just a lot of pure int. And then I go Dreamer's Idol. The Dreamer's Idol hits so hard, and you usually are just power farming with Aladdin throughout a game because, you'll full engage, you'll pop a wish if you need to, you get your kill, and then you're right back to farming. It's a lot of mobility. It's probably the most mobile god, I think, in Smite 2. Not quite. It honestly, it is kind of like Circuit level mobility from Smite 1, which is dope. I go beads. You can go blink, but in reality, you should be engaging with your 3 and then disengaging with your 2. If you blink in, you could 3 out, but that's not like the most normal play style. I do think blink is fine. And if you get to a game where you want to go blink and you get to the end of the game and you need CC immunity, this can be Magi's always, right? You could drop Dreamer's Idol. It's an expensive item. But this build is what I go. I really like beads right now on Assassins if they don't need blink for engage. So there's Aladdin, our number 2. Our number 1 on the list. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this. Maybe someone would argue that Aladdin is a bigger problem. I really don't know. I'm interested in the comments to know what you guys are thinking. So it's Collie. Collie's number 1 on the list. There are 2 Collie builds. I've updated. For some reason, if you go to the page, there's a bug right now. My website guy is trying to figure it out, where if you put Sunbeam Bow and Odysseus Bow in the build, on this page, it shows double, even though it says Sunbeam Bow and shows the different stats. It's just the image is Sunbeam Bow. It's weird. But if you open it, it shows you the right images. This is the AA build. There's no pen in the build because your passive gives you pen on your target. If you're hitting your target, they will die. If you're not hitting your target, but it's a squishy target like a hunter, a mage, or an assassin with no defense, they will also die. You do not need pen. This build hits insanely hard. It also burns objectives. Trust me, I know it looks weird. It is a very, very strong build. Hasten got buffed in the last patch, so I'm using it a lot more. I'm using it on hunters. I think it might be OP on hunters again. I'm wondering if people have realized it yet. I really didn't think it would be. So it's 100%. It's the text is bugged. I don't know why. The text says it got nerfed in the last patch, but it got buffed in the last patch, and then they didn't even say the secondary part. So before the patch that hit, Haste and Vitalis maxed at 75% reduction on movement penalty when auto attacking. So if you stacked it up, I think it was 3 times before, 25% each stack. If you hit somebody 3 times, then your autos only slowed you 25% instead of 100%, right? So when you auto, you slow down a lot. It stops that if you don't know what the item does. Now it's 4 stacks, and it's supposed to be, it is 25%. I don't know why it says 12.5%. Maybe they were going to nerf it and didn't. Maybe text got messed up. I don't know. It's 100% movement. I ran it on Apollo ADC, and I'm like outrunning the people I'm hitting. It's really wild to have Fatalis back on Hunters again because it was so OP and a problem in Smite 1 that I can't imagine it's not going to be a problem in Smite 2. The change in the patch outside of that was the 4 stacks. Melee gods stack 2 times per auto. So a god like a Collie jumps on you, autos twice, full stacks, no movement penalty when auto attacking. A ranged character, or if you go Collie aspect where you have range, which you're not with us, by the way. You can, but you're not. It's 4 autos to get the max stacks. I think this item is really, really strong right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up just seeing it nerfed into the ground again for like the 80th time. And then you're going Brace to the Abyss. It stacks on abilities, which I did not even realize till the other day. So when you 2 someone on Collie, it stacks really fast. When you jump in, you stun them. That's a stack. You 2 them. There's more stacks. You're autoing them. There's more stacks. You get the Brace to the Abyss stacks very quick. So a god like Collie has crazy value on this item, especially since you're really playing to just get as many autos off as possible. Not big hitting autos, just tons and tons of autos. You have attack speed on every single item in your build. You're max stacking this. You have yellow numbers on your Terrifying and your Braggies and your Sunbeam Bow and your Oboe. So these are just all proccing insane damage. Now, this is AA Collie. I think there's an argument to be made that this is the best at lower to mid levels. By far, not even close. There's a second way to play Collie. You can play around being a mage. It says it's out of date. When you guys see this doesn't necessarily mean it's true. There's a patch every 2 weeks. So assassins didn't, nothing changed. No mage items changed in this patch yesterday. So this build wouldn't change, right? The only thing that we added or really changed this last patch was tank items. So don't always pay attention to this. I get you might be worried about it, but this is just here to tell you when the build was put in the game. So if it's like 8 patches old, it might not be good still, right? But yeah, mage Collie. This is not Aspect Collie. Aspect Collie turns her into an auto attack, a ranged auto attack god. This is because her abilities scale off of strength and int, and her 3 has a change in Smite 2, where if you get 5 stacks of a debuff onto a god, which is from 1ing, 2ing, ulting, or autoing, it puts stacks up. If you get 5 stacks or 1, you eat them when you press your 3. It does really high scaling based on int. So this build, I genuinely believe at a high level of play, this build is better because it insta-kills. Once you have these 3 items, you can instantly kill any god that doesn't have defense or HP items. So any mage, hunter, assassin that isn't building defense or HP, this will one-shot them when you jump on top of them. You can blink, 2, auto, 3, they will die. They will be dead. Then for the late game, it just scales up. We go Totem of Death. We get a little more cooldown. We have Rod for more power. We have Doom Orb for a little bit more power. The Doom Orb can be swapped to other items. Doom Orb is just a really consistent item. This could be Dreamer's Idol. Realistically, I like the one-shot aspect since your ult gives you the death immunity. I don't really see the value in going Magi's. You can go beads, however. You do not need Blink to play Collie in the jungle because you can just jump in on people and pop your ult. You're full committed. Go for your target. You'll heal up a little bit, right? You also can build Divine Ruin over the Doom Orb if you need anti-heal. You can build Cosmic Horror if you want more cooldown. You just want to spam a little bit more. Or you can't see it's behind my camera. Soul Reaver. You can go Soul Reaver last. If they are building a lot of HP items, Soul Reaver becomes super valuable, especially if they have multiple tanks or their mages are just weirdly building a bunch of HP items, or the new, new Apollo aspects in where he's building around health. If someone's doing that, it makes Soul Reaver a viable option to kill that target. I personally think this build is more fun and this playstyle is more fun. I've played the other version of Collie a million times. It was in Smite 1. This was never, Mage Collie was never in Smite 1. However, this is simpler. This is jump on somebody, hold left click. Doesn't get easier than that, right? So those are our top 5 junglers, all assassins. My honorable mention, it's deeper than honorable mention, but I don't think it's fair to throw into this role because it's also one of the top ADCs. It's Agni. And it's Aspect Agni. This might be the most overpowered thing in the game right now that low-level players can't or don't exploit / know about. I don't know what it is. It has not been nerfed yet. It hasn't been nerfed in 2 patches, so a month. So they think it's balanced as of right this second. You have probably the strongest early game out of everyone, I believe. I don't know of anything stronger than this off the top of my head. And then the mid game is strongest and the late game is strongest, and it can kill tanks, which is what's crazy. So with Aspect Agni, you become essentially an auto attack strength god. Whenever you land an auto, you debuff somebody. You can debuff them 5 times. When you use your 2 or your ultimate on somebody that has been debuffed, it consumes those debuffs and does bonus damage. So essentially, if you auto somebody twice and then 2 them, you will do double damage. The scaling is different. You don't scale off of int the same way anymore as you do with non-Aspect Agni. So that's why we're building strength and attack and we're going crit. On top of that, your debuff stacks from autos, if you crit them, it's 2 stacks instead of 1. So if you have crit and you auto somebody twice, you'll have 4 stacks. Also, you'll crit them for 500 or 600 at full build. And on top of that, if you hit them with a 2 or an ultimate, they'll get hit for another 3, 4, 5, 600. So it is by far, I don't know if slept on's the right word. I think it's just misunderstood right now. It's very strong. I would put it in the probably number 2 in the jungle if if people understood it. I don't know. Like, I played a cheater the other game. I was playing this exact thing in the jungle. I played against a wall hacking, aimbotting cheater in a ranked game, and I went 15-1 against them and didn't lose any trades, anything to them. I was literally going over to see, because people were saying they were cheating. I wasn't sure. I was going over targeting them to fight them to see if they were cheating, and I was winning. It's that strong. I have no idea what's the issue at the lower end. Maybe you guys can help me in the comments. I also don't know what high res sees as a statistic, whether it's losing or what. But I promise you, if you go this build and you play it right, you will cook. A simple example of a rotation of abilities: you can bomb stun somebody with your ultimate. So you'd ult and 1 and they would get stunned. That would allow you to auto twice. If you crit them twice, that's 4 debuffs, and then you 2 them. Any non-tank is dead. That will kill them. They're dead. Like, that's all you need to do. Plus, then you can follow up with more autos. Another simple combo is just literally sitting back, a tank's walking at you. You start autoing them because you're playing around auto attacks. You get 5 stacks in a second and a half, and you 2 them. They're at half health or lower. You still have your dash for mobility. You have your stun peel for yourself. You are still doing damage with your abilities even without the debuff. Like, your 3 still does damage. Your ultimate still does damage. It's not a lot. it's honestly like half-ish of base. Maybe it's like 60-70%, and you're not building in, so it's not crazy scaling, but it's still doing damage. It's not worthless damage. If you watch my gameplay on this or watch other people do this and you learn it, it will carry you. It's a really easy thing to use right now to grind ranked and to gain a lot of rating in ranked, in my opinion. So that's my honorable mention explanation and where I'm at on that god. Like I said, I'd probably put it in number second, number two, number two, if I were certain about what was going on with it, and or it wasn't so good as an ADC, and I think it should be played in ADC. That's where we're kind of at. So those are the top 5 junglers in the game. Have fun playing them. Let me know if you have any questions or there's something you need information-wise in the comments, or just come in my stream and tell me or tweet me. Let me know. I hope these videos are helping you guys. I'm hoping with the game being a lot better and a lot more established, this is something that just gets used more and people can just jump on and have good games without having to be unsure about what to play. So hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, that I'll see you in the video later tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.